Starting the bulletin with some breaking news that's coming in, wherein former U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo has made a big claim saying that India informed him that Pakistan was preparing for nuclear attack and no other nation could have done what we did that night to avoid a horrible outcome. As with all diplomacy, the people working on the problem said matter a great deal, at least in the short run. Well, that's a big claim coming in by Mike Pompeo as far as the book is concerned, which is Never Give an Inch, Fighting for America I Love. And these remarks have been made by Mike Pompeo in his latest book, which also hit the stores on Tuesday only. But remember, this comes at a time, even as questions are being raised on the Balakot strikes, which were conducted by the Indian Armed Forces under the leadership of BJP government back in 2019. And now with the US making such claim is, of course, kind of putting the facts into black and white for all those who have been questioning the Balakot strikes which were conducted back then. And as far as Mike Pompeo is concerned, he claimed that his then Indian counterpart Sushma Swaraj had apprised him that Pakistan was gearing up for a nuclear attack in the wake of the Balakot surgical strike in February 2019, and that India is preparing its own escalatory response. And he also said that the incident occurred on February 27 till 28 in 2019 while he was in Hanoi. Joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Pranesh from the newsroom. Pranesh, as far as this massive claim is concerned, not to forget that this is coming in as a clincher for all those who have been doubting lately the Balakot strikes.
You know, Shivya, let's not call it a claim. This is a massive disclosure, and this disclosure actually demolishes the distorted propaganda that has been peddled for a long time now. This puts all the parakram of our braves. They are saying, show us the sabut. Where is the proof that we conducted surgical strikes? Sushant Sareen is also now joining us. We have a robust panel, Colonel RSN, Sushant Sareen, both with us, Shivya. Colonel RSN, you go first.
There is nobody who is doubting. Even Digvijay Singh is not doubting. He knows the truth. The problem is that he is catering to the jihadi constituency in India as well as Pakistan, because they together constitute the proxy war apparatus. So all these people, they know everything, they know the truth, but they are incorrigible anti-nationals. You can't do anything about them. The place for them is Tihar jail anyway. But what Mike Pompeo has said, that look, as I said in your previous program, that this whole proxy war business is going on because at one end of the spectrum, Pakistan thinks is the nuclear weapons, and on another spectrum end is the conventional war, and they think that there is a lot of space, and scope for proxy war. And when India did Balakot strike, this entire equation got changed, you see. So we introduced a new dimension to proxy war. Now, maritime, the attack on 26/11, on 26/11 was the maritime dimension of proxy war. We introduced another dimension, to this war, under the nuclear shadow, and that is the Balakot strike. So therefore, Pakistan it had to be rattled. So I'm not at all surprised that, probably they started getting, apprehensions about their own survivability as a state. So I don't know whether Mike Pompeo is right or wrong, but, something coming from a former Secretary of State, we have to take it seriously. But what he has said is not far-fetched. I can tell you that much.
Well, Mr. Singh, please stay with us. Bringing in Sushant Sareen as well over the phone line. Mr. Sareen, of course, even as these remarks are concerned, it's a big disclosure that has come forward from US side, but it also settles the dust as far as the questions that are being raised from the opposition time and again, doubting the Balakot strikes which happened in 2019.
Look, anybody who doubts the Balakot strikes, I think needs to get his head examined. Now, it's like saying that there is nothing called the sun in the world. There is nothing called the moon. There is no day. There is no night. But if somebody wants to be that stupid, how do you stop it? So I don't think there's any doubts about the Balakot strike. I think the more important question is what the former U.S. Secretary of State has written in his book. I am a little skeptical about all the details that he seems to have put out and what his remembrances are, given the fact that he cannot even remember that it was not a he but a she who was the Indian foreign minister at that point of time. So clearly there is probably some degree of lack of comprehension on what was happening, or his account is given. But look, on the other hand, we know it for a fact that after the Balakot strikes, after the air skirmishes, there was a very tense environment. It was tense because also India was all set to launch another attack into Pakistan if Wing Commander Abhinandan had not been released. And I think those warnings had been issued. There are published accounts of conversations between the then Pakistani authorities and the Indian National Security team that it had been made very clear to them that if this does not happen, if the man is not released, missiles will be fired on Bahawalpur and other Jaish-e-Mohammed bases. And from the Pakistani side, warnings were being issued that if you fire one missile, we'll fire 3 missiles. So, yes, it was an extremely tense situation. But whether both sides were ready to fire nukes on each other, I am a little skeptical on that. It is possible that, that was the conversation which Sushma Swaraj ji had with Mike Pompeo. It is possible. I don't entirely deny it. But whether it would be on the tensions along the borders and the possible action-reaction kind of a spiral that we were in, or whether we were, talking to the Americans that, look, the Pakistanis are preparing nukes and if they do it, then we'll fire back kind of a thing. I think I'm not entirely convinced whether it was going the nuke way just then. But yes, there was talk of missiles being fired on terror training camps and terror facilities in Pakistan, and threats from Pakistan that they will retaliate in equal measure.
Yes, Mr. Singh, stay with us. Bringing in Mr. Singh back on this. Mr. Singh, now, as far as this excerpt from the book is concerned, it also says that Pakistan was gearing up for a nuclear attack in the wake of Balakot surgical strike, as we discussed, and that India is preparing its own escalatory response. I'll come back to you, Mr. Singh. Let me also rope in Mr. Rashid Alvi on the phone line. Mr. Alvi, now, this is a big disclosure which has come in from the former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, claiming that Pakistan, which was rattled with India's Balakot surgical strike, actually prepared for nuclear war and strike on India. And this is coming at a time when the Congress party has been questioning the Balakot strike.
Actually, Sushma ji is not alive. She is not with us. But definitely, government of India, he must explain it, whether it is truth or not. Sushma Swaraj, she was the foreign minister, and definitely our prime minister, our defense minister, government of India, knows the truth. And if it is true, it is very dangerous situation. Our prime minister has already given a statement that within a period of 11 days, he can eliminate Pakistan. If it is true and government of India is sure about it, that Pakistan wanted to attack after that surgical strike, while the fact is that Pakistan had denied that it was no surgical strike. So, but in spite of that, if Pakistan wanted to attack, then government of India should be very serious about it. And if our Prime Minister has already said that within a period of 11 days, he didn't say 1 week or 2 weeks. He said 11 days. It means he would have calculated every day. So Pakistan should be eliminated because it is a permanent danger for the country. It is the government which should decide about it and go ahead. because opposition doesn't know the fact. Opposition leaders have no knowledge about it. It is the government which knows everything about it. If it is true, then government should go ahead. We are with government. People are with government. If Pakistan is so dangerous, they wanted to attack with nuclear weapons, then if it has not happened earlier, it may happen again. So, the government should take decision in this regard, and we are with the government. They should eliminate this country, which is dangerous for the
All right.
peaceful environment of the world.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Alvi, Mr. Singh and Mr. Sareen for joining in and sharing your views.